KTYM Inglewood.
Good morning, and thank you for joining me today for The Way to a Wonderful Life. I am Reverend Dr. Henry Lee Bates, coming to you live this morning from Palm Springs, California, teaching from the philosophy of the Mastermind Jesus, the wisdom of the ancients, and the evolutionary science of mind. This program is not pre-recorded, nor is it edited. It is live. For more information about this ministry, please visit www.Rev-Bates.tv or www.RevBatesOnTheRadio.org. You can also find me on YouTube.com by going to YouTube.com and putting in the search box The Way to a Wonderful Life channel. That's The Way to a Wonderful Life channel, where you'll find over 100 of my radio broadcasts that you can listen to 24/7 in both English and Spanish. You can also go to MSN, Yahoo, Bing, and Google and put in the search box Reverend Henry Bates, that's B-A-T-E-S, and you'll find everything you want to find out about this ministry. Now, this is a healing and teaching ministry where we go beyond religion and we focus on those simple yet profound healing principles given to us by the Mastermind Jesus, so that we can believe in our prayer and the answer to it. For we believe and we know that God responds to us by corresponding to our faith and our belief that with God, all good things are possible. With God, all good things are possible. Now, you can send me your prayer requests, your questions, your comments about this program, and you can also send a faith offering, a tithe, or a donation in support of this radio ministry, which I will deeply appreciate, and you can do that from the website Rev-Bates.tv or RevBatesOnTheRadio.org, or you can mail those to Reverend Henry Bates, that's B-A-T-E-S, P.O. Box 1173, Palm Springs, California, 92263. Once again, that's P.O. Box 1173, Palm Springs, California, 92263. And you can leave me a telephone message in the Los Angeles area at 818-476-0088, or in Palm Springs at 760-778-5677. Once again, this is A Way to a Wonderful Life, and we're going to open our program this morning with an affirmative prayer. We know that as we pray believing, as Jesus said, pray knowing that as you believe, it is done unto you as you believe. We know that God responds to us, and so as we believe that there's something going on around us, through us, for us that's greater than what we see, then we realize that there's that Spirit of God within each and every one of us, that image, likeness of God expressing itself in us, through us, and for us. And so we say together that we know and we believe and we accept that God is our all in all, God is our everything. And as we turn to that great invisible, we know that our faith will give us evidence of those good things that are ours to receive. And so as I read these words this morning from this terrific affirmation, please listen. If you're not driving, if you're not operating something mechanical, close your eyes and listen for that word, listen for that phrase, or listen for that statement that appeals to you, that you identify with it as the truth for you, and just let that go deep within your mind so that you can feel that truth that sets you free. The living Spirit is within me. The living Spirit within me is my life, my health, my strength, and my vitality. It is the Christ within me, the very image, likeness of God within me. This living Spirit within me is my supply. It prospers all my affairs and is limitless in supplying my good. I draw on the inexhaustible substance of Spirit, which knows no limit. Abundance is my birthright, and I claim it now. The living Spirit within me is my intelligence. It guides and directs me in all my ways, ensuring that my every good desire is already complete. I acknowledge this as an accomplished fact now, right now. So I go forth in confidence and assurance, and with the positive conviction that the living Spirit of God is within me, and all is good, and so it is, Amen. Once again, this is The Way to a Wonderful Life, coming to you live this morning from Palm Springs, California. This program is not pre-recorded, nor is it edited. I am Reverend Dr. Henry Lee Bates, and I want to wish everyone out there a happy Valentine's Day. Be sure and get a Valentine's gift for the one that you love. Send those hearts and those flowers and those cards to everyone that makes your life special and makes you feel warm and wonderful. And do something special for yourself to honor that love that is within you, that infinite capacity of God expressing through you as love, as everything wonderful. And know that this is a wonderful way to focus on our mind and our heart and our soul on the value of celebrating this Valentine's Day, which is a celebration of love, not only love for the world in which we live, love for the people in our life, but also that love of the Spirit that dwells within each and every one of us. Our Wonderful Way to a Wonderful Life message for today is titled, Lost Without Love, Lost Without Love. And I have some words here from the mystical Marianne Williamson from her book, A Return to Love. And I'm sure people have heard this over and over again, but I'm going to repeat it today anyway, as this will help us to realize and understand and know that there's something greater going on about us, within us, than what we see in the world. She writes, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant? Who am I to be gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone, every one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. That's from Marianne Williamson. And so with most people, I have read these words probably several times, and I know and I believe and I accept that there's something in this that's telling us to remind us of that great teaching of Jesus. And so we know that it is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. And so we think about what those words mean and what is the obstruction to this light. The mastermind Jesus is quoted in the Gospel of Matthew 5:16, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And this is exactly what Marianne Williamson is telling us so many centuries later. And yet there are so many of us who still fail to recognize this light within us. And even for those who do, they fail to identify with it to any great measure that is fulfilling and life-enhancing. After contemplating this for a couple of days, I realized that what so many people shrink from is the love that creates this light within us. Most of us are aware that love is a synonym for God and that the power of God is a power of love. But this must be more than just something that we believe to be true, but something that we realize works through all things that concern us. Love is creative and unlimited. It is life-affirming and infinite in its capacity to bring a vitality and a radiance to every living thing, and it can also bring a vitality and a radiance to all things that concern us if we recognize that love is present. Every species on the planet reflects this as a truth, yet humans, being inherently volitional, can consciously choose to identify with love or dismiss it. We are all meant to shine, Marianne Williamson tells us, but the person who dismisses this power of love fails to fully realize the possibilities that are available to them, and therefore these words mean very little to them. So we know and we believe and we accept that love is the creation force of God. It is not only part of the Spirit of God, it's part of the power of God, and it's part of the intelligence of God. Because as we learn to use love intelligently, we know that as we shine the light of love on all things that concern us, that we shall reveal a greater good, we shall reveal an expanding good in all things, an increase of good in all things that concern us, but we must recognize and identify that this is the absolute truth for us. We have learned that what I am seeking is seeking me, and we know that the way in which to receive that which we seek is through the fullness of our faith, working through love and law. Love provides for us the ideas, the inspiration, the confidence, and the guidance to have the awareness of those things that appeal to us and fill our mind and heart with joy and happiness, peace and harmony, because these are the good desires of our heart. It is the law that ensures that our faith and focus are a part of the unfoldment of our good from the evidence that we realize in the invisible, in our thoughts and the images that come to our awareness and into our actual experience of them. Through law, that is the sowing and reaping, cause and effect law, there is a precise and measured outcome to all that we think into the Spirit. Think into the Spirit. What are we thinking into the Spirit? Are we telling God about our problems? Are we telling God that woe is me, that God has left us helpless and hopeless without any way to rise above the conditions and the circumstances that we find ourselves in? Do we feel that our mistakes that we made in the past have so identified us with the mistake that somehow we allowed ourselves to identify so much with the mistake that somehow we have let go of the idea, the belief, and the fact, and the truth, and the promise that God will rise above anything that's outside of us and bring forth God's glory through us, as us, and for us? Have we allowed ourselves to believe that? Have we allowed ourselves to turn God upside down? Have we done that? If we have, let's begin renewing our mind right now. Let's refresh our mind and remind ourselves that there is a renewing of the mind taking place right now in our mind, our heart, and our soul, that we are feeling that transformation of the Spirit as it moves through us as faith, as hope, as joy and happiness, as beauty and harmony, as peace and love. Now, too often people become discouraged when their love or their givingness and forgivingness is not returned to them in kind from those who are the object of their loving kindness. But the law is universal and cannot be limited, and so when we, through our thoughts and ideas, limit the law to individuals, we short-circuit, so to speak, the action of the law in returning to us, multiplied abundantly the love that we seek in return. We often read statements about selfless love or selfless service, but the law does not respond to either of these in any measurable way, for it is not of its nature to do so, nor does it respond to selfishness in any constructive way. The nature of universal law is correspondence or reciprocity. We cannot diminish ourselves with the idea that we do something without a personal or individual benefit for ourselves. We always benefit when we do something that benefits anyone, and we should expect that whatever we do that is impelled by love, and sometimes we know that means our creative expression, the work that we do, the very talents and skills and abilities that are coming through us as we give those gifts out into the world, we must always realize that whatever it is that we do is not only benefiting other people, but it's benefiting us as well. And it must return to us something of a loving nature. Otherwise, our sowing is obstructed, and whatever it is that we are doing selflessly begins to lose its appeal for us. Let's look at some words here from the great Dr. Frank Richelieu from his book, The Art of Being Yourself. And once again, you can find his book on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. And you can also find Marianne Williamson's book on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com, Return to Love, Marianne Williamson. I'm sure most of you have the book already. So Dr. Frank Richelieu's book, The Art of Being Yourself, we can read, no matter how many possessions we may have, our life will be empty until we touch and experience the infinite intelligence within us. And what is he telling us there? That that infinite intelligence is part of that love, that power of love that God has made resident within each and every one of us. And let's continue with his words. He writes, the only thing which limits this power is us, we ourselves. We must unlock the door of inner consciousness in our eternal search to know more about this thing called life. And that's why Jesus said, knock and the door will be open. So as we tap, tap, tap on our consciousness to find that newness, to find that new idea, that increase, that whatever it is, to see that image and likeness of that thing we want to be, to do, or to have, then those things are revealed to us. And Dr. Frank continues, I am sure there are many, many inner doors of consciousness which open upon greater and greater vistas of livingness, but the only one we can open at this time is the one that is before us. Once it is opened, others will present themselves. We set our own pace, fast or slow, but what we must do first is to begin. The power is so vast and so great that it can release us from all forms of tension, all forms of fear, all forms of doubt, and all forms of anxiety, uncertainty, and confusion. That's from Dr. Frank Richelieu from his book, The Art of Being Yourself. We unlock the inner consciousness with love for the living spirit within us, and we know and we can believe and we can understand that love for knowing that God is incarnated, a part of itself within every living thing. We know that it's within us. To have faith in God will stir up the power of love within us. To have faith in this power of love within us will bring to our awareness ideas and give us endless opportunities to choose the way in which we benefit ourselves and the world in which we live. Let us begin right now, right where we are, to foster and nurture the idea that the living spirit within us, the Christ within us, the image likeness of God within us must be included in the good results of all things that we do, that we must feel our measure of the good that benefits others as well. There is a great joy to be had in sharing the love within us, but we must never allow our feeling of being filled with this love being diminished in any way. Not in the things we do for ourselves or the things we do for others. For in this thing called life, we are lost without love. We are lost without love. So let's go back to Marianne Williamson's profound words. She writes, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Now, I know you've heard this before. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but let's remind ourselves again this morning. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in every one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Our presence automatically liberates others. And one of all the things that we do that obstruct that light from shining through us is to let ourselves get lost in the field of the world of comparisons and competition. We're not here to compare ourselves to anyone. We must love who we are. Love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. Begin by loving the image and likeness of God within us, the living spirit of God within us, and let that love within us outpicture in our world of affairs and in the things we do, not only for ourselves but for others, and the work that we do, the recreational things that we do, the talented and skilled things that we do. Let it outpicture into our world of affairs in the most wonderful way. But we must begin to love that person we see in the mirror first so that we can find within us, touch on that intelligence within us, which is part of love, because it's a creative power. Love is a creative power. Love is the thing that gives us the awareness of that something new, that something that's an increase. Love is the creative power that lets us see health even when we're struggling with illness. Love is that creative power that lets us see abundance and prosperity even when we go into our purse or our pocketbook or our wallet and find it empty. Love is that power, that intelligence that tells us that our faith is the evidence of things not seen, and that as we believe and absolutely establish in our consciousness that this living Spirit of God is seeing those good things, seeing that increase, seeing that greater joy and happiness and peace and love for us in the great invisible, we are more than willing, we are more than happy. We will be compelled, we will be impelled to share that love, to share those talents, those skills, those abilities, to share that part of us that is God with all those around us and in our world of affairs. We know that's true, we know it's so, we believe it's so, and we let it be so. So let's go back to Dr. Frank Richelieu. These are powerful words from Dr. Frank. From his book, The Art of Being Yourself, we can read, no matter how many possessions we have, our life will be empty. Our life will be empty until we touch and experience the infinite intelligence within us. No matter how many possessions we have, our life will be empty until we touch and experience the intelligence within us, because that intelligence within us is God within us. It is the love, the life, the truth of God within us. As Jesus said, the Father is a spirit and must be worshipped in spirit and in truth. And the truth is that God is that living spirit within us, that intelligence within us that beats our heart, that hears through our ears, sees through our eyes, breathes through our nose. It is the very life of us. Dr. Frank continues, we must unlock the door of inner consciousness in our eternal search to know more about this thing called life. I am sure there are many, many inner doors of consciousness, he writes, which open upon greater and greater vistas of livingness, but the only one we can open at this time is the one that is before us. Once it is opened, others will present themselves. We set our own pace, fast or slow, but what we must do first is to begin, and we can begin today. Excuse me. The power is so vast and so great that it can release us from all forms of tension, all forms of fear, all forms of doubt, all forms of anxiety, all forms of uncertainty and confusion. That's from the great Dr. Frank Richelieu from his book, The Art of Being Yourself. Once again, let's realize within us that there is something greater going on. As the Mastermind Jesus said, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God is within you. Let that light shine on the things that concern you. Let the light, the intelligence, the power, the love of God, let it be focused on the things that concern you, and start looking out into the great invisible instead of looking into the physical. Stop looking at the things that we can feel, hear, taste, touch, and smell, and realize that there's no power. There's no power in the world that can withstand the loving power, the love that is God, the powerful love that moves through us as intelligence and power and spirit and joy and happiness. Let's know that whatever it is that we do, if we find a happiness in doing it, we find a joy in doing it, that we will also find a love in doing it, no matter whether we're doing it for ourselves or for someone else. Let us realize that nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible when we align ourselves with the nature of God, infinite spirit. The love that created us to be a blessing not only to others, but to maintain the highest ideal of ourselves as an inlet and an outlet for the infinite love of the Spirit to express life through us powerfully, radiantly, and intelligently, knowing that in the Spirit we are one, not you and me, but one eternal Spirit in the wholeness of love. Not one, not one individual, but one Spirit, eternally in the wholeness of love. Let's let that sink into our mind. Let's let that just fall into our heart. Let's let ourselves realize the intelligence of knowing that is the truth, and realize that this living Spirit of God within us is our everything. It is our all in all. God is our all in all. God is the all power. God is the all presence. And God is the all knowing intelligence that created all that we see, including you and me. And God has not left us without the power to do the things that we want to do, the good things that we desire to do. God has not left us hopeless and helpless without having the feeling of the joy of life, the glory of life, and the livingness and the lovingness and the forgivingness of life as part of who we are, that God is giving us the choice, created us as volitional beings, that we can choose. We can choose how we're going to express this thing called life. We can choose how we give power to love rather than power to the world. We can choose whether we want to find ourselves living in the embrace of the infinite presence and recognizing its presence, identifying with its nature, or we can choose to dismiss it. But no matter what we do, we must know and we must develop within our consciousness that realization that we are here to express the love of God in all that we do, because without love, we are lost. We are lost. We are lost. We are lost. And so we must know that if we're going to let that truth move through us that sets us free, that we must let it move through us lovingly, joyfully, and gracefully right now, right where we are, and we let it be so. And so it is. Once again, I want to thank you for being with me today. It's been my great pleasure to have you, and I hope you join me for my next broadcast right here on KTYM AM 1460 radio and at www.ktym.com worldwide next Sunday morning, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 9:30 Central Time, 10:30 Eastern Time. And be sure and visit www.Rev-Bates.tv or www.revbatesontheradio.org. And you can also send me your prayer requests, your questions, your comments about this program, and you can send a love offering, a faith offering, a tithe, or a donation in support of this radio ministry, which I will deeply, deeply be grateful for. And you can do that from the website, revbates.tv or revbatesontheradio.org, or you can mail those to Reverend Henry Bates, that's B-A-T-E-S, P.O. Box 1173, Palm Springs, California, 92263. And you can also leave me a telephone message in the Los Angeles area at 818-476-0088, or in Palm Springs at 760-778-5677. And be sure and visit youtube.com and put in the search box The Way to a Wonderful Life channel, and you'll find over 100 of my radio broadcasts that you can listen to 24/7 in both English and Spanish. So this morning, let's end our program with our power affirmation. This is our recognition and our identification that the living Spirit of God is within us. So let's know this, let's believe this, let's let this be true for us beginning right now. There is a power within you. It is the Christ within you. It is the image likeness of God within you, the essence of the Spirit within you, and it can lift your life to its highest level. It can change illness into health. It can bring peace amidst turmoil. It can bring success out of failure and victory out of defeat. It can bring companionship and happiness out of loneliness. It responds to you. For this is the power that dwells within you, and so it is, amen. And so it is, amen. So let's realize once again that the living Spirit within us is our life, our health, our strength, our vitality. This living Spirit within us is our supply. It prospers all our affairs and is limitless in supplying our good. As we recognize and identify with the Spirit, we know that we can draw on the inexhaustible substance of the Spirit, which knows no limit. And we let that living Spirit within us, which is our intelligence, guide us and direct us in all our ways, ensuring that every good desire of our heart is already complete. Once again, let's acknowledge this as an accomplished fact, and let's go forth in confidence and assurance, and with the positive conviction that the living Spirit of God is within us, and all is well. And let's take those words of Jesus and let our light so shine. Let our light so shine that all the world may see our good works and glorify our Father, the Father which is the Spirit, the life, and the truth of us and of everyone, right here, right now, right where we are. Let's let it be so. Let's live in the presence of the Spirit. Let's live in the power of the Spirit, and let's live in the intelligence of the Spirit in all things that we do.